Where did they go? There is a stretch of summer, usually somewhere between late July and early September, when the feeder that was mobbed all spring goes strangely still. The goldfinches that lined the thistle sock every morning are gone. The cardinal that sang from the same fence post at dawn has stopped showing up. You assume something bad happened. A hawk moved in. A neighbor's cat got lucky. The birds left, or the birds died, or the birds simply lost interest in your yard. None of that is what happened. What actually happens to your birds every summer is stranger and far more deliberate than disappearance. Welcome back to the Birds Lore. Today we're explaining the real reason your backyard goes quiet midsummer. A phenomenon almost every backyard birdwatcher notices and almost nobody correctly explains. If you've ever assumed your birds abandoned you in August, subscribe, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly where they went and why the silence itself is a sign that everything is working the way it should. Number 1. The birds you're missing are not gone. They are hiding, on purpose, because for a period of several weeks, they are the most vulnerable they will be all year. This is molt. Once breeding ends, adult birds begin systematically replacing every flight feather they own, and for the species that molt all their primaries at once or in rapid sequence, flight becomes labored, escape becomes slower, and the smart move is to stop being seen. A cardinal in heavy molt does not perform. It does not sing from the fence post. It sits low in dense cover and waits. Number 2. This was already set in motion before you noticed the silence. The molt doesn't begin the week the feeder goes quiet. It starts the moment the last brood fledges, and the hormonal signal that drove nesting behavior switches off. Testosterone and prolactin levels that kept a male singing and defending territory through spring drop sharply once parenting duties end, and that hormonal shift is the actual trigger for feather replacement. By the time you register the quiet yard, the bird has already been rebuilding its body for 1 to 2 weeks. The silence you notice is a lagging indicator of a process that began earlier and privately. Number 3. Not every quiet yard means the same thing, and learning to tell the difference gives you a real skill. A goldfinch vanishing in early July, before most songbirds even molt, is not molting yet. American goldfinches breed unusually late, time to peak thistle and milkweed seed availability, so their disappearance in early summer is often still active late nesting, not molt at all. A chickadee going quiet in August, by contrast, is almost certainly deep in pre-basic molt. Duration matters too. A brief 2 or 3 day disappearance after a rainstorm is usually just birds sheltering. A silence that stretches 3 to 5 weeks, species by species, in the same window every year, is molt. Number 4. Inside the bird. This is one of the most metabolically expensive things it will do all year, rivaling the cost of migration itself. Feather is almost pure keratin, and growing a full new set requires the bird to redirect an enormous share of its daily caloric intake into feather production, while simultaneously reducing the muscle mass it no longer needs for territorial flight and song. Research out of the Cornell lab of ornithology has documented that many songbirds shift their diet composition during this window, moving away from the fats and easy carbohydrates in feeder seed and toward protein-rich insects, because keratin synthesis demands amino acids that seed alone doesn't efficiently supply. This is a second, quieter reason your feeder empties in late summer. It isn't only that birds are hiding, it's that what they need to eat has changed, and your feeder can no longer give it to them. Number 5. After this window closes, your yard does not return to exactly what it was. The bird that comes back to the feeder in September is wearing an entirely new set of feathers, often duller and less showy than the ones it lost, because fresh plumage doesn't need to advertise for a mate anymore. It is also, in a very real sense, a bird with a rebuilt engine, ready for the fall's lower demands, or, for some species, ready for a migratory flight that a worn, damaged wing could not have completed. The blue jay that reappears in your yard by early fall is flying on structurally sound feathers for the first time since spring, and that renewed integrity is the entire point of the disappearance you spent weeks worrying about. Number 6. Once you understand this, the empty feeder in August stops reading as loss and starts reading as evidence that the system is functioning exactly as it should. A quiet backyard in late summer is not a yard that has been abandoned. It is a yard whose residents are, at that exact moment, somewhere close by, low in the shrubs, spending everything they have to rebuild themselves before the season turns. The birds never left your yard. They left your line of sight, for reasons that have nothing to do with you, and everything to do with keeping themselves alive through the year's most physically demanding transition. So the next time your feeder goes still in August, and you find yourself scanning the yard for a hawk, or wondering what you did wrong, remember what's actually happening a few feet away, low in the hedge, out of sight. The cardinal that vanished from the fence post is not gone. It's rebuilding the exact feathers that let it perch there and sing in the first place, one at a time, on a schedule its body set months before you noticed anything was different. The chickadee that stopped visiting hasn't found a better yard. It's spending calories it can't afford to waste on being seen, converting insects into keratin in total privacy, because privacy is the only thing that gets it through this safely. The goldfinch, if it was truly molting and not simply still nesting late into the season, will come back wearing a duller coat than the one it left in, and that dullness will be the mark of a bird that made it through. None of them abandoned your yard. They used it exactly as they always have, just not in the place you were looking. I want to check the memory tool. The user's known workflow expects the script only right now. Image prompts / description / keywords come as separate continuation turns. I'll stop here and let them signal next step, matching established pattern.